Now, Chef Daniel Green is an advocate for healthy cooking for life.
Less salt, less fat, less oil. But will this all lead to a less satisfying taste to our foods? Especially many of our local delights like lontong, char kway teow, nasi lemak. We could go on.
Oh, he asked the chef himself, who has a passion for Asian food, and it all started with his trip to Thailand. Have a listen.
I first came to Thailand in 1991, and at that time I was on a low-fat diet. I wanted to lose weight, but diets don't really give you a great recipe of food. It's all about the method. So in that time, it was all about low-fat food. Well, I hear chefs say today that fat is flavour. Well, I disagree. If you go to Thailand and you have papaya salad of mein kham or tom yum goong soup, there's zero fat, but a huge amount of flavour. So that was the drive behind me writing 6 cookbooks and getting passionate about how I can share my views that actually low-fat food can taste really good.
Right, you're all about healthy eating. I mean, you're a healthy eating guru. Tell us about your story, though, because you have an extraordinary story behind you. You were fighting this weight issue for a very long time, and then you decided, I've got to make a change. Had
to make a change. I was 17 years old and I was 65 pounds heavier. Didn't feel good, didn't have energy, didn't feel young, and I wanted to do something about it. And over 3 years I lost weight, and I did it pretty easily, but I developed a love and passion of food and cooking. And this was 20 years ago, and I've been on TV and I've been taking this career to different levels for the last decade. And I really am passionate about it. You know, I made a turn and I believe it. I don't think there's many diets out there that can hold their head up high and really say we're proud of what we do. If you're taking a pill, if you're having a shake, if you're having, you know, certain kinds of things that eliminate food from your diet, I don't think they could be proud, and I am proud. I think what I do with my tips and my ideas are genuine. They really are ways that you can take your everyday food and just make a small tweak, you know, adapt it a little bit, and you'll get some brilliant results.
So when you, you know, sort of reflected on your habits and lifestyle, was it really food that was the factor and the way you were consuming it and what you were consuming actually?
Well, you know, not that I advocate this, but I've never been to a gym. I can't. I'm quite hyper, but I just can't do the exercise. Everything I did was through food. Every reason I got overweight was through food. I was that fast food junkie. I was the kid that wanted the burger.
That's amazing, looking at how you look today.
Yeah, I've never been to a gym. And again, I don't want to say that's the healthiest way around it. It's good not to. And I think, of course, you know, we see our lifestyles. You could be on a treadmill for an hour and do nothing else the rest of the day. You know, I'm pretty active the way I move.
Then share with us your secret. Tell us what you have for your meals every day. You've sort of brought in a few dishes for us, a healthy version of some of our popular dishes.
And they're all from my cookbooks. I've just finished a run of 3 cookbooks with Marshall Cavendish, and so that's a really nice tie I've got with Singapore. And I love to share very simple, easy recipes, but I think presentation is great because sometimes you look at food, you think healthy, oh, it's not going to be done like a top restaurant. That was the drive behind these books. So we've got a cilantro salad, which is just, excuse me, it's not tomatoes, is it? It's oranges, it's cilantro, and you've just got some pomegranate seeds, a drizzle of olive oil. But it's quite an interesting way to have maybe a good breakfast and a change up of your fruit.
What about this one we have, a smoothie?
You know, we think of smoothies and energizer drinks, and they've changed over the time. I remember coming to Singapore probably about 15 years ago and having carrot juice and ginger and like, wow, that was brilliant. We put too much in them today. I think we've gone into throwing lots of sugar and more processed, and sometimes we buy an energy drink from the grocery store and its shelf life is over a week. There's a lot more in it. So I've kept it back to simple. And berries, I mean, berries are very low in carbs as well. They're great for you. They've got incredible antioxidants. I've put some fat-free ricotta cheese in there, so it's giving a bit more protein and a bit more filling. Tiny bit of skim milk, and then just some mint to top it off, but hopefully something that's got some more substance than the regular smoothie, but still very natural.
And what about this one?
Well, I know the Singapore noodles are fantastic, but they're pretty high in fat. So I've kind of done my spin with a Japanese twist. It's soba noodles, a tiny amount of peanuts that are crushed, a light coconut milk, just a tiny spoonful, and then some sesame oil that's full of flavour, and just toss that in with some greens, and hopefully, you know, kind of different slant maybe for breakfast. I love noodles and rice for breakfast. You know, I'm always at that tray if I'm at a hotel over in Asia to try the Asian breakfast.
So it's clear you like to keep it low fat, but you don't compromise on flavor. But if you look at a lot of Asian dishes, see char kway teow, nasi lemak, you've tried those, and lontong as well. They're rich in flavor, and it's because of all the ingredients we use, like coconut milk and so on and so forth. If you look at Asian cuisine, perhaps you can tell us or give us some insights on some of the high-fat ingredients that we use and how we can substitute them in our favorite dishes.
Well, you know, knowledge is the best power you can have, and it's normally the high saturated fat that's bad for you. So olive oil, sesame oil, they've got low saturated fat, and those are the ones to use, but little of them. So really try and reduce the fat. And I'm a big believer on the Monday to Friday diet. No diet says have the weekend off, have what you want on the weekend, or have one day off, because they don't get the quickest results. To me, it's what you can do to sustain it. So if you want to have your Thai red curry, have a full fat Thai red curry on Saturday, but it's what you do Monday to Friday. So I think that the coconut milk, you can buy half fat coconut milk. It makes a big difference, but you should use less of it. And also what you can buy is a condensed milk that's fat-free. That's got more thickness and density than a skim milk. And I make a fat-free Thai red curry with that. So that's an alternative. And I think going back to just try and think differently out the box with how much oil you use, because I've worked with chefs in restaurants and hotels, and the first thing, actually we just did a brilliant demonstration for 250 students at a culinary school, and there is just this lack of thinking about a great non-stick pan. There's a lack of thinking about, do I need oil and butter, or do I just cook it without anything in a non-stick pan? You can, you know, it's just thinking out the box a bit.
Those are good suggestions, I mean, because I guess when you're cooking at home, you have full control, but what if you travel a lot and you go out and eat, and you do that a lot? How do you ensure that you can strike the balance?
Well, I had to design my own menu for a hotel chain so I could trust it. No, we've just come out a big tour of launching the Dusit Thani Hotel Group, where all their coffee shops will feature my kind of menus, and also in-room dining, which is a bit out the box, because most people think with in-room dining as indulgent food, like a burger and a pizza. So we've just launched this long term with them. But you know, I think as business travelers, we know decisions. We think of Japanese food as very healthy. We think of choices that we can make. I want to expand it. I want to give more than that, because you know, we're pretty conscious what we do. I don't just appeal to people that want to lose weight. I think I appeal to people that are thin, because we work hard at it. You know, anyone that stays trim, you have to make conscious decisions of food. You can't just let yourself go. So with hopefully my tools and, you know, with the books, if you can read some of the recipes, the average book has statistics that people make 3 to 5 recipes, and you can have 100 recipes in a book. I want to change that. I want to make it foolproof, because mine is about confidence in the kitchen. I don't want you to make one of my dishes and think, oh, that was a bit hard and I don't want to try another. I'd love to change that statistics on my books and get people to really cook a little bit more.
That was Daniel Green, the celebrity cook, TV host, and author of several cookbooks, all on healthy cooking and dining. And I thought he pointed out something very interesting. When people buy a cookbook, you only, you know, try out the 3 to 5 recipes, which is very true.
That's true.
And then the rest, you just tuck it away.
I think there are different types of people who use cookbooks. I mean, I look at it as a reference, as a guide. I don't always follow it exactly. But I know some people who say, well, you got to follow it exactly, because otherwise, how do you get that actual dish? So I think, I mean, I'm a bit of a, because you say that you need this ingredient. I look at my fridge, I think, well, I don't have that herb, but I have this one, which kind of works. So maybe that takes a bit of practice.